So let's say you don't have any a'mal. You don't have a lot of good deeds. And this could happen. It could happen to somebody that had no opportunity to do good deeds. But don't you have good deeds with your heart? And now let's talk about at-tawassul yakunu bil a'mal as-salihah, is by your good deeds. Your good deeds. Have you done anything good? We are taught to do tawassul with our a'mal. And that tawassul, for example, comes in a story of Bani Israel, where 3 youth were traveling and they ended up taking a rest in a cave, and the mountain shook and boulders came and blocked their way out. They couldn't get out. Okay, a big set of rocks came and they couldn't move these rocks and they were stuck in the cave. Okay, when we say cave, sometimes these caves are really small, like barely fitting 4 or 5 people, right? And so, it's not hard to imagine that a rock comes and blocks it. So this cave gets blocked. Prophet ﷺ tells us what they did. One of them said, "Oh Allah, I had a man who came and worked for me, and I owed him a sheep. The fee that he was going to get from me is a sheep, 1 sheep, female sheep. That female, he left. Years later, he came back. In the meantime, that female sheep had produced many other sheep, right? And those are her sheep, right? So that 1 sheep that I owed him had now produced many sheep. And oh Allah, only I knew this and you knew this. But when he came back, I gave him his sheep and all of its children, because that's hers. It's part of it. And that I did that only for your sake, because I knew you were watching." Another man came and said, "Oh Allah, I loved a relative of mine, a cousin. I loved her so much. She refused to marry me. She married another man. Okay. Or she didn't marry me at all. No, she didn't marry me at all. She refused to marry me. Sometime later, she fell into a debt and I came into money. I had money and she didn't have money. She came to me and she said, 'Please, I need some money. I'm in big trouble.' I said to her, 'I'll give you the money, but you need to give me what I want. So lay down.' So she laid down. And as I was on top of her, she said, 'Fear Allah.' So I got off of her and I feared Allah, gave her the money and let her go. Oh Allah, I feared you in this. And there was no one in the room. So if I did this for your sake, then move the rock." The third man came and he said, "Oh Allah, every day I come back home from herding the animals and I give the milk to my mother and father first, before my children. But one day my mother and father were asleep. So I would not feed my kids before my parents. I stood with the bowl of milk all the way until they woke up, and then they drank. Then I gave it to my kids. If I did this for your sake, then move the rock." And then the rock moved. So it's tawassul bil a'mal. So let's say you don't have any a'mal. You don't have a lot of good deeds. And this could happen. It could happen to somebody that had no opportunity to do good deeds. But don't you have good deeds with your heart? Oh Allah, I don't have many good deeds, but I love your religion. I love your prophet. I love your sahaba. I love the deen. So your love for the deen is a good deed.